Hello and welcome and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to the 11th Lanky Beat Show. What have we got for you tonight? Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I'm looking forward to quite a bit of rock and roll. On the show tonight, our guests are Peter Eddleston and Barry I'anson. They are the, what we would call the Weather. That's what the band name went under, along with the Electones and with the Summers. They actually joined up with Marty Wilde too, so I'm looking forward to chatting to those two guys. Top pros, those two buggers, I'll tell you. And what we'll do, we'll get on with that in a little bit later. But meanwhile, we've got a tribute tonight to the Dominoes, 55 years service, and they've just retired. I don't know if they'll get their old age pension out of it though, but my goodness me, have they got some memories to fall back on. The Dominoes, fronted originally by King Size Taylor, and the Dominoes then went a long, long way in pushing the Beatles to the top of the toppermost, and along with many other Liverpool bands, they were there. And it's a nice thing to be able to say that we can look back on those particular times with a lot of fondness, because the influence that came out of Liverpool, of course, was in Lancashire and Yorkshire and all over the blinking place as well. So we've got a lot to be thankful for bands like the Dominoes, and like I say, they've only just recently retired. I've got a track that I'm particularly proud of because I got to play with these guys. I actually put 2 tracks down with them as their drummer. The band consists of Ken Shalliker on bass guitar, George Eccles on lead guitar, and a guy called Sam Hardy, and he is one of the original members of the band. And Sam, and we'll talk about Sam later, was on a programme this week on BBC4 called Please Please Me. And that was a replica remake session of the Please Please Me album by several guest artists who were invited to the Abbey Road studios, and they all put a track down each, much as in the same way that the Beatles did exactly 50 years ago. But this is the song, or should I say, this is the tune, because this is called Mersey Thunder, written by Ken, and we have got the telephone ringing. And Diane had just said to me, "Have you switched your phone off?" And I said, "Yes." So that's Diane's phone, so she can take the blame for that little interruption. But she's actually gone red. Yeah. I bet you can see it in full colour radio. She's gone red. Let's say for Diane. Lovely, lovely Diane. Where was I? I got interrupted there, didn't I? That's lovely. It's how you handle it, these mistakes. Much the same when you're on stage and you drop a ghoulie on stage. I dropped my stick the other week. Did you see that, Diane? I know. I dropped my stick and playing one-handed. Oh, goodness me. It's but you laugh it off. You have to laugh it off, and that's what Diane's doing. Where was I? Oh, yeah, Dominoes, yeah. I played a track with those guys. Couple of tracks, and it's an instrumental written by Ken Shalliker, bass player, and he wrote this lovely haunting type instrumental, and we were lucky to actually get to do the chorus vocals in the background like a choir, and myself, Sam Hardy and Alan Turner with Jack Carney formed a little choir, and we put the haunting backing vocals on this. Just have a listen to this and see what you think. It sends the shivers down my spine sometimes. Yes, that is So Haunting, Mersey Thunder. A little bit of background on that it's on a CD that I produced called the Mersey Soundwave. And the Mersey Soundwave really was an artistic expression of an honour that we gave to the Mersey sound and Mersey beat that we had beginning 50 years ago, but starting in 1960. And so the 60 added 50 years is 2010, and that's when I put that particular track down. And together with others, and we've played them sometimes sometime or other, we've been playing them along the line, and we've got to, and we're going to play some more. But I thought a particular nice thing to do would be to put that particular track your way, just to let you have a listen to see what you thought of it. And it's quite unique and original, and I like the concept of it, what it does. But the other thing is that we're talking about Sam before, weren't we, Diane? And the Diane and I had a great little chat earlier about that programme on TV this week.
It was amazing, wasn't it? I really did enjoy that.
That was the Please Please Me, and they tried to replicate putting the album down in one day, didn't they? And by using a different artist for every track.
Yeah, well, the Beatles did all of themselves on the same day.
They did.
And I think that was 12 hours, I think it took them to record
it. I think it was 11 hours. They went in, I think, 10 o'clock in the morning.
That's right, yeah.
Finished at 9 in the evening.
So it's a long day, that, when you're recording.
Yeah. And that last track, that they couldn't, they needed, they had done 10, and this was interesting, wasn't it? They'd done 10, they got a little bit more time left. None of the engineers were going home yet, and so they decided they needed another track to finish it all off.
Yeah, that's
and they
right,
brought up the Twist and Shout, wasn't they?
Yeah, well, one of the music journalists were in there, and he said to him, "Why do you not do Twist and Shout? How did you do it the other week? And you sounded brilliant."
Fantastic.
And they done it, and he changed history because...
Yeah. And Lennon's voice was knackered.
He was well gone after that. But
absolutely
God, it
knackered.
Sounded good, didn't it?
But
it really sounded good.
How did it sound?
I'd
heard that song, Twist and Shout, in the Crawford Rooms in Wigan, and it was brilliant. So what we need to do is stop. Okay, and that's what we did. I had a good listen to it on Radio 2 on the night in question when it was actually done live. And the thing was about it was presented by Jo Wiley on Radio 2. And she'd an awful lot of time to fill because they ran the programme all day.
Well, I missed it. I can't remember what I was doing, but I missed it.
But of course, the cameras were rolling all day, but then they got down to the editing. And that mainly was the bands who were invited to sing each song, weren't they? And
yeah. Well, I caught up with it on Sunday evening on the iPlayer.
Yeah.
And some of the songs I thought, that does not work in the slightest. The version I did like was Mick Hucknall with Anna, but it's one of my favourite songs anyway.
I'm with you all the way on that. I thought he was the best of all the artists on.
He tried to keep it pretty original.
Yeah.
Compared to the other ones, which was like way off the beat.
I think I know what you mean.
Thinking out the box, I think that's what
you're being very kind with your words, aren't you?
I'm trying to be.
I know, because I think that's where the Beatles spoiled it for everybody, in that they were so good at what they did. And even in those early days, all that stuff that came out subsequently, years later, it was there then. And when I hear a song like Anna, for instance, sung by John Lennon, he's singing it from the heart and the soul, isn't he?
Goosebumps.
Absolutely. And yet, Mick Hucknall, I didn't get that when he sang it. So the difference is what? What is that difference, do you think?
I think it's the voices makes a difference. He's put so much energy in that voice, and it's a very powerful voice what Lennon has, isn't it? In other words,
it's coming from the soul, and it's passion, and it comes from your heart. I believe music does come from the heart before anything else, because that's the way you express when you're actually singing or performing. It's the way you express, and they were expressing themselves in their particular way in those days. And listening to those early tracks, and they become more astonishing as we've grown older with them. We've just found it's it's astonishing to go back to them, listen to them all over again, and still be amazed in a completely different way. We were amazed when we first heard it in 1963.
Well, I can't come
kids.
I was only one.
I know. I think I was. What was I be? I would be about 16.
Well, I remember in the 70s, I went and bought the Beatles live at the Hollywood Bowl when it came out.
Yeah.
And I thought the energy on that album was unbelievable.
I know.
Because it was recorded live, straight to tape, and no remastering. It was incredible.
I know.
And I think they only had a few hundred watts at the G Stadium.
Yeah.
As well.
I know. So, we're probably going off the mark a little bit here, but what I'd like to say is that the link here is the Dominoes, because at the end of the programme, the very last song, I think, no, it wasn't the very last song, but it was the Mersey Band. I think that's what they were called on the day. But they were a scratch band of Dave Lovelady on drums, who was a former band drummer for, and I can't think of which band it was, but that's it, you see, that's my memory. But it was Tony Crane and Billy Kinsley from the Mersey Beats, who did the main lead vocal, and then they had another guitarist whose name I can't remember, but they had Sam Hardy from the Dominoes on keyboards.
Can I just bring something on there? They had a saxophone player. I'm not sure whether he was with...
Was that Howie Casey?
I don't know, but I think I've seen him when I've done the sound for the Undertakers. I'm sure he's been with them.
I think you're right. For the Undertakers, I think it's Howie Casey.
Yeah, I think he's
that's
played with them a few times.
Yeah.
The last time I was worked with them was the Carolina School in Liverpool at West Derby.
Right.
And they were incredible.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to get the Undertakers to Lanky Cats. And I'm in touch with Jeff Nugent, the guitarist, and he says he's going to come, but he's busy down at Mersey Rats on Thursday nights.
Well, when he used to come in and see me with the PA, he said, "I'm glad you're here tonight."
So, Sam, he's the link. Sam Hardy was the link, and he was on telly, and God bless him. I met Sam, like I said, 2 or 3 years ago when we put these particular songs down in the studio, and I actually played drums behind the Dominoes on 2 tracks. The second track that I'm going to play doesn't feature me on it, but it's an old song that I remember, and Diane reminds me it's by the Kingsmen. And I never understood the title of this song, and I still don't in a way, because it's called Louie Louie. And Louie and Louie are spelt the same way, so I pronounce them differently. Louie Louie. Hey? What was it about? What was Louie Louie about? I don't know. I think maybe Barry and Pete will tell us about this, because they've just arrived in the studio. Say hi, boys. Hey. Lovely to see you. We'll talk to you in a minute. We'll get this track done, and then bingo, we're straight on to you. Okay?
Sail a ship out all alone.
Louie Louie, blimey, that brings back a lot of memories. That invoked Wigan Casino, and as it been called before that, Wigan Emp, Louie Louie. Every band used to play that, I still never don't understand those lyrics, but anyway, there you go. That was Sam Hardy on lead vocals with the Dominoes, and thank you, Dominoes, for a personal thank you from me for what you've done for rock and roll for the last 55 years. God bless you. Fantastic. I think that's amazing. Now then, over here on my left, we have Pete Eddleston. Hello, Pete.
Hiya.
And Barry I'anson.
I'anson.
Have I? There you go. I don't
worry,
know.
Everybody gets that wrong.
What? Say it again, then I'll not get it wrong.
I'anson.
I'anson. Is that right?
It is. It's apostrophe capital
I
A.
had you down as Lanson, which is as in the word champagne.
Yes, well,
it's a champagne name.
That's
that
what
is,
he
isn't
drinks.
it?
I wish I was a shareholder.
So that's great. That's great. I mean, Barry. Fantastic to see you guys again. Can I just tell folks listening that I remember seeing you guys. I didn't know you then, but I saw you, and it was a Monday night at the Wigan Emp, and it's usually quiet on a Monday night, certainly quieter than the other beat nights. And what we did, we all got up there for want of better to do, but there was always two bands on, always two bands on a Monday night. Anyway, I was with my then girlfriend. Her name was Mavis. I don't mind telling you. I think she was the first love of my life. You have to have a first, don't you? And we were sat there, and these guys come and got up, and I'd never seen them before. And I think you were called the Electones then.
Yeah,
I think you
possibly were. Yeah,
you could have been the Summers, because there was a change over pretty soon.
I think it would be the Summers.
The Summers.
Yeah.
And then next thing is, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was hearing 5 blokes singing in harmony at the same time. I'd never heard that live before. And in those days, unless you went out and went to live shows, you didn't hear anything like that. But this was rock and roll, and they were doing Beach Boys songs, Jan and Dean. Yeah, am I right?
Yes, you're right.
What was the Jan and Dean song?
Surf City.
Surf City. And these guys, all 5 of them, were singing superbly. And thinking of the PA systems as well, they weren't up to that much with those days, but yet you got the effect of turning the hair up on the back of my neck. You were the first that were doing it, weren't you?
Thanks very much. Yeah,
you were the first that attempted to do it on stage.
Yeah,
we'd actually imported some records from America. The Beach Boys.
Yeah.
First one, I forgot what it was called. It was called Shutdown Volume 2, I think it was called.
Right.
And Fun was on it, and we just couldn't believe what we were hearing. It was just...
I know.
It was just...
Exactly.
I mean, they'd picked it up from...
Jan and Dean, probably.
Well, not just Jan and Dean. They were the other American harmony bands of the time.
Oh, yeah.
It was the ooey-oos, really, that hit me first. Ooey-oo, your kind of falsetto ooey-oo, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And nobody was doing that on records at all.
No.
That was brand new. And then you've got these 5-voice harmonies, with the top being the falsetto. And underneath it all, somebody had a bass voice as well.
That's
Who was
Peter.
that in the band?
That's Pete.
It was you, wasn't it, Pete? I thought it was. That's it. You had the bass voice underneath all that. So on the other guys in between got all the so you'd got a layered harmony live on stage. It was fantastic.
There was something Berry had, and I think I had, and that was the ability to pick up the harmony lines, not the lead vocal.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know, we were able to sing the harmony.
Yeah.
And Beach Boys harmonies weren't easy. They were complex.
Absolutely.
But we were so... I don't know whether it was a gift or what, but we could pick up the lines that weren't the lead lines.
You made it look easy.
And that's what we were so good at.
You did.
I just loved the harmonies. I remember when I was at school, when we were singing with the lessons, I remember the old school teacher Crick. It was called Accrington Grammar. And when we were doing a song, I'd always be singing a harmony, and then he'd stop playing the piano and say, "Who's that?
Yeah.
Who's singing a harmony?"
Yeah.
And he'd go around hitting people over the top of the head, to try and find out who it was. I always did it. It's just something I always did.
I mean, that's led us brilliantly into the next bit, because I was going to take you back to how you were influenced in your musical beginnings. I mean, where did that start? And I mean, like I say, you've just said about being at school and the and your harmonising to the teacher. I mean, what was going on in those days in terms of you getting into the business later on?
As far as I was concerned, we always had music in the family. My dad played violin. From being 5-year-old, we always had a piano. We had a couple of banjos, a tenor, a G banjo, and I learnt to play recorder at school.
Right.
And it went on from there. Because, funnily enough, I lived next door to a bloke called Dave Wormsley. Everybody in the club scene will know him as Whammy.
Yeah,
Whammy. Now in fact, he sent me an email today.
I know, he's just been in touch.
Moment, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
And,
hello, Whammy. Have you got? He'll be delighted when he tunes in.
Oh, he will. He'll be.
But we're talking about him.
Yeah,
it's great. He's just come on board, hasn't he?
Yeah.
In terms of Lanky Beat, I've just got all his stuff on there, and I've got your stuff in the book as well in Lanky Beat 2. We'll tell you about that a little bit later
very
too.
Good. Yeah, well, he lived next door to me from being about 5 or 6 years old, and he used to play a mouth organ, and when the skiffle thing came out, we were straight into that with banjos. And Brian Cox, who recently played the guitar for us, he had a guitar, and so we had a little line-up doing skiffle music.
Yeah.
And we did our first gig. I think it was in Methodist school in Great Hard, Wesleyan school, for a social evening.
Yeah.
And that was the first one. Then the next one we did was at St John's in Great Harwood.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun doing it.
And for people who are dashing now to get the maps out of the world, where is Great Harwood? Just to put us on the, just to put us in the picture. Where is Great Harwood?
You could say it's probably between Blackburn and Clitheroe.
So there you go. It's not near the Maldives or anywhere like that.
Great Harwood.
It's in East Lancashire, along the M65 corridor, where
that's
an
right.
awful lot of talent came from in Lancashire.
It
certainly did. All along that, Blackburn, Burnley, Accrington, Nelson, Pendle,
Right.
It's a hotbed of its very own in that area, East Lancashire. There's no question about it. And we're delighted to have you two coming from over there and and telling us about what you were up to in those days. It's an interesting insight, that, Barry, about your musical stuff it was there, wasn't it? All the musical stuff.
Right from the
what
start.
about your singing and things like that? Did you take to in a choir or anything like that?
Well, not really, but people. When you went out on a coach tour or anything like that, all the bus was singing. Yeah. And the kids would be asked to do a song. Well, I would be there, Whammy would be there, be yodeling.
Yeah.
He'd be playing his mouth organ. We used to do all sorts of things like that. When it was the Queen's coronation,
right,
the street had a big do, and get the lads up singing, and straight away we'd be there doing it. So we've always done that.
Fantastic.
And then the skiffle group kind of put it more together. And then when that fell through, we ended up playing. I left and went to play with a band called the Vikings from Great Harwood.
Right, yes, I've got them on Lanky Beat too. Yeah, I've got the Vikings. Not many photographs. I've got, but anyway, I'm talking off the top of my head. Forget that. I've just it's just a thought that's passed through my mind. But yeah, the Vikings. So take me from
the
there.
Vikings came from round Accrington, Clayton, Great Harwood.
Yeah.
Norman Byron. He lives in Great Harwood. He was a singer.
Yep.
Now he plays drums. He's done it for a long time, hasn't he? And Brian Cox again. He played lead guitar.
Yeah.
McKenna Ken McKenna. He was a singer.
Yeah.
And there's another bloke, I can never say his name, I think it's called John Vituriak or something like that.
John Vituriak.
John Vituriak, he was in the band as well.
He made his own guitars.
And a bloke called Stott played bass. Right. And we did quite a lot of work, actually, because we used to play at Taylor's in Burnley.
Yeah.
We played the Nelson Imperial. Yeah. And we used to get there in various, on the bus. Two of the guys used to come on a motorbike with a guitar case in their hand.
Yeah, been there, done it. I had a motorbike. Yeah,
off they went.
Put him on with a motorbike, bloody guitar case. About you, Peter?
Well, you just mentioned about how did Barry start singing?
Yeah,
the reason why we all sang was because everybody of our age had to know a party piece. And whenever it was your birthday, you had to sing a party piece.
Oh, right.
So all the kids of our age and older folks from where we were used to sing it in front of people. Right from being that high.
Yeah.
And mine was Oh, What a Beautiful Morning from Oklahoma. I had, before anything happened at a birthday party, I had to sing that song.
Sing Oh, What a Beautiful Morning.
Yeah, and everybody
Go on, give
sang.
us a line of it.
No. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow.
Brilliant. About that, eh?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So we were all used to singing in front of people.
Yeah, I know. So, but, taking you back, your childhood, that, again, where you started. And then you're moving on now. You're kind of leaving school and you're getting to know what you're doing. How are things developing for you?
Primary school music was a big thing. And I remember they used to give us plasticine to play with. We sat at these desks.
Yeah.
And everybody would be making like a duck or something. And I was doing speakers. And I was doing like a PA system. And I thought,
oh, right.
That must have, must have been something there.
It's creative free expression, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You were encouraged to do things like that, and that was in your... How interesting was that?
Yeah. Pete was always our technical man if there was any recording to be done.
Oh, right.
Tapes would be...
It used to intrigue me.
A couple of tapes fastened together to do something.
And moving it on a little bit now, you start, what about playing instruments? You're a bass player.
But I was talking to Barry on the way over, and my mum and dad first got me a plastic guitar which had a thing on the neck with buttons, so you didn't have to play the chords, you press buttons,
just press a button,
which was useless, but it just got you going. And then they bought me a Lucky 7, Rossetti Lucky 7, and I got this book which showed how it was trying to tell you how to play the F shape.
Yeah.
With the four strings on it, and I could not get this round. You couldn't understand these shapes. And then one day Whammy came round, Dave Walmsley. Oh, he says, you don't want to do them. These are the chords: E major, A, and B seventh. He says, then you're away. I went E major, A, B seventh,
and away you went.
And away.
And that was absolutely. So bringing it now into, your individual developments, into a collective development of your first bands. And you said about already, Barry, about Vikings. What about you, Pete? Where did it start for you?
I was at St Mary's College, and I just got this Rossetti guitar, and I was not good. And my pal next to me, Tony Durkin, I said, I've got this guitar, and I don't know anybody else who plays. And he said, you see Bernard Drugan sat down there. He plays guitar. So I went over and had a word with Bernard, and he said, I play. He says, and my mate does, who's a year older than us, Jimmy Hotwood. Yeah. So before you knew what had happened, I was in Jim's front room. Bernard was playing rhythm. Jim was playing this fabulous lead guitar. He had a Macaferri. Like, the one that Django Reinhardt used to play.
Oh, right.
He had a Macaferri. And I thought, this is fantastic. I couldn't play anything. So they said, we need a bass player. So I tuned mine down 2 notes.
Yeah.
And just played the bottom notes. And it started off from there, the 3 of us. And then all of a sudden, Bernard said, we've got a gig, St Edward's School. And
so the pressure was on.
With no PA, but we had a couple of little amps, and I had a Grundig TK30, and he had a little brown mic, little ribbon mic, and plugged that into the amp.
You could use it as a speaker, a kind of an amplifier.
Well, we just use it as an amp. And,
an amp, yeah.
But then we realised we needed
about a 2-inch speaker in it.
Yeah.
the things we did, it's amazing.
It's a wonder we're not dead, because I used to connect things up to it, try and record off radios from all sorts of...
Absolutely, fantastic. I mean, I think that brings us to a nice little kind of break here, whereby we'll play a little bit of music. We've unfortunately not got the facility to play your 45 single. So that means we'll have to play it some other time when we actually we get a deck that we can do it.
Fine from next week.
We'll be fine from next week. So that's what Diane told me. So we know now straight away that we have to bring Barry and Pete back to do the show again, talk some more, and of course play some of the material from the 45 records. And that is I can't wait for that, even though we're not halfway through this programme yet. So what we've got now is a guy called Rod Demick. He's making a name, and has been making a name for himself for the last 50 years. He's still going, he's still touring, he's still enjoying himself. He used to sing in the band called The Wheels, and they were always known to be from Belfast. And I played some of his stuff from his album before. His album's called Loose Change, and this is People Get Ready.
People get ready, there's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. Now people get ready for the train to Jordan, picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is a key, so open the doors and let's board them. There's room for all among those loved the most. Now there ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would turn on mankind just to save his own. I pity on those whose chances grow slimmer, 'cause there's no hiding place from the kingdom's throne. Get ready now. Get ready, there's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. You don't need no ticket, just thank the Lord. You don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord.
little bit now. Okay, you're in your bands now. There's something happening in Liverpool. What did you hear about anything that was happening in Liverpool, or didn't you? Do you know?
The first thing I can remember about the Beatles was the NME on the, I think it was either the centre page or the next to the centre page, had the charts, the album charts,
Yeah.
and the singles charts.
That's the
And at the right and
Yeah.
left hand sides,
Yeah.
they always had adverts for the latest records.
Yeah.
And it showed these four faces,
Yeah.
and underneath, Love Me Do. And the image was just so different to whatever we'd seen before.
Yeah.
These four mop tops.
I tend to agree with you there, yeah.
You was just taken to that advert, even though it was just four headshots, Love Me Do. And then you heard it and you thought, I've never heard anything like this.
I know. But what we had was like the Shadows, Cliff Richard, Gene Vincent, all the American stuff like Chuck Berry and all that kind of, you know, and of course Elvis was in the mix with all that stuff. And yet
we were dying for somebody to come from England and really
there was
sing
something,
really knock it out.
You know, and Cliff Richard, I suppose, Marty Wilde, who we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they were the guys on this side of the channel, and yet there were the spark wasn't there, was it? It was good. I mean, I remember Move It, but that really did move me in terms of that.
That was a good song. That was a good
song.
record.
I'm going to disagree slightly because I think the TV shows of Oh Boy and Five Special,
they were the ones.
And there was a couple of others there. I thought they were just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just knock you out.
I know.
You couldn't wait for Saturday afternoon, could you, to
it was
get in
just-
and watch them.
I know.
And I've got quite a few copies of the Oh Boy shows, and they really were good.
Yeah.
So professional. They was done live, and
I know.
it was brilliant.
I know, and so, but it wasn't until you saw the New Musical Express, the Enemy as you call it, and you saw this.
Yeah, that's right.
An image that never left you, obviously.
That's right. You never forgot that image.
And then, so what did you then do after that, Pete?
I think the one thing that the Beatles did for everybody was they opened up the ability to write your own material. They insisted on recording their songs.
Yeah.
Now then, when they went to George Martin in that first session to record a single, George Martin was told to make them record How Do You Do It?
That's right, and Jerry, the Pacemakers did that, didn't they? And made a huge hit out of it.
All of the music industry was controlled by Tim Panelli, you know, the Denmark Street, and you had they come up with a singer, but that singer had to record a song written by somebody from Tim Panelli, and they were good writers, fair enough.
Yeah, they were.
But when John Lennon turned around to George Martin and said, "We've got 100 songs better than that," and then one of them was Love Me Do, and then Please Please Me. I mean, I know it. I remember them saying to us at Dawn Co-op, but they'd written 100 songs. I just thought, nobody's written 100 songs.
I know.
That's the gate they opened.
Yeah, I know. I want you've touched on something there. I just don't want to quite get into that just for a minute because I want to bring Barry in because I can see he's bursting here to say something because you have to have had a similar experience that brought you through and. You know, and give you this nice awakening. Never mind rude. This lovely awakening that seems to have happened to all of us.
For me, I just wanted. I'd always wanted. I watched the Old Boy shows and all the usual stuff, and it was good. We didn't do any different. But I always thought we didn't have a singer like Little Richard, somebody who could really knock it out.
Oh, yeah.
And then when the Beatles came, to me that they showed that you could do.
Yeah.
And they had something different.
Yeah.
They had the harmonies anyhow.
Yeah.
Which sounded good, even though there were only three of them usually doing it.
I know.
They sounded really good.
Absolutely.
They were playing the guitars and singing harmonies as well.
Yeah.
And that's not the easiest thing to do.
That's right.
And that was something novel. And again, they were writing their own stuff. And the sound was just amazing. Just couldn't wait. I think the first time I saw them was on the 6 o'clock news with Brian Truman. You know, they always used to have a bit of a spot.
Yeah,
but with an artist on.
Yeah.
And I saw them playing on that, and it just knocked me out. It was just unbelievable.
Absolutely.
And it just went mad after that.
I know.
And then the next thing, we were playing with them.
Well, no, yeah. Tell us all about that. Darwin Cooperative Hall, am I right?
January 25th, 1963.
And what was your band at the time? What were you doing?
We were the Electones.
The Electones. What kind of material were you playing at that particular time? Had you been influenced by these guys? I mean, what year did you say? 1960?
63.
63.
Yeah.
So they'd made Love Me Do.
That's right.
Had they made Please Please Me
They'd
and released it?
Please Me, that was going up the charts at the time.
On that very night, if you remember in those days, there were two charts. There was the Melody Maker, and the record retailer used Melody Maker charts as the official charts.
That's right.
New Musical Express had their charts, and on that very night that they appeared at Darwin Co-op, they got to number 1 on the unofficial New Musical Express charts.
Fantastic.
So they had arrived at Darwin on the very night of the first unofficial number 1.
Yeah.
Which was Please Please Me.
I know. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what sort of form they were in.
Yeah. And just trying to get a kind of rounded measure of the night and your material that you were doing. What was that kind of? Give me something like an idea.
We did a cross section. We did some because Bernard Durgan, God bless him, he died a number of years ago. He used to sing a lot of Cliff Richard songs. I used to do the Presley songs. We did Bobby V.
A
You
lot of
played a lot of instrumentals. Too.
Shadows.
You do some
songs.
Shadows stuff.
Oh yeah,
you did a
Shadows.
mix of everything. then.
We even played some of our own instrumental songs.
Oh,
we
we
wrote
were-
quite a few.
We were
Right.
dead lucky we had Jim Otwood
Jim
on
Otwood was a
guitar.
fantastic
Who was the
guitarist.
finest guitarist around. He
Yeah.
was just
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant player.
And then so you were on the bill with the Beatles. What did you know about the Beatles then when you knew you were playing them?
Oh, we were excited.
Did you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we knew
You
about
knew all about them.
Oh, yeah.
And then, what was your first glimpse of them when you spotted them? When you?
Well,
coming
we
into
were the band
place?
on before the Beatles.
Yeah.
And they hadn't arrived when we went on to do our spot.
Ah, right.
They hadn't turned up. Because I think they were on a nationwide tour. And when they arrived at Darwin, they were wearing leather gear, so they weren't allowed in because they had leather jackets on. So it took some convincing of the doorman to let them in, first of all.
Well, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was a sign of being rebelliousness and
Yeah, it was.
antisocial,
Yeah.
which was mega.
You wouldn't get in on
Let's
the car
face
now.
it.
No.
Yeah. You were leather black, and it was black leather, of course.
Yeah.
You were. I suppose the image that I'm conjuring up in my mind is a teddy boy, I suppose, image.
Maybe,
but,
yeah.
yeah.
But we were on before the Beatles, and Barry we'd be doing an instrumental, and Barry be going backstage to say, they haven't arrived yet, so we had to do another number, and all kids were at the front waiting, we want the Beatles,
they're all screaming
screaming their heads off.
Yeah.
And he started the Beatles, no, they haven't arrived yet.
Was it a big place, the call?
Yeah, it was a big place, yes.
Yeah. Are you talking here, a couple of thousand?
No.
No.
Thousand?
No.
I'd
Well,
say
The imp was a couple
maybe
of thousand,
1,000-ish, yeah.
Yeah, about 1,000.
Yeah.
It was a funny place, the Co-op Halls. It had a nice dance floor, but it also had a balcony as well, which is unusual.
Yeah.
But it wasn't terribly big. But the stage, there were two sides to the stage, and it was a funny stage. It was just a platform virtually. There were no curtains or anything like that.
Right.
So
There were two glass doors,
there
weren't
were
there?
two glass doors in the centre, and you came from the dressing room out through these two glass doors right down the centre of the stage and to wherever your mics were.
Right.
And I went backstage to see where they were and how long they were having a cup of tea and all this carry on. And John Lennon was tuning up with his mouth organ.
Right.
And George Harrison, he said to me, he said, well, how do you get onto the stage from here? So I took him round
Yeah.
to the two double doors in the centre of the stage, and they opened from the centre outwards. And you could see through the gap, and our band's playing away, the old Electones whizzing it out there, crowd's going mad, and he got down on his hands and knees, and he looked through the crack in the door, and he just looked up and he says, God, gear, look at that, you know. He had a real twinkle in his eyes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And, so that was it. They went back and...
Because they'd come for the Beatles, haven't they?
Oh,
They'd come
absolutely.
to see the
Yeah.
Beatles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Is there?
Oh,
What,
the
what
crowd
other
were
things
best,
did the Corp Hall do in terms of, you say it was a bit odd, really. That's it,
He'd have bands nearly every Saturday night.
Did it?
It used to alternate, didn't
Alternate
it?
with the baths.
With the baths.
Yeah.
Darwin baths. They used to put a floor in there in the winter time.
Is that
Brilliant
right.
dance floor.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they
A
had
lot of-
Eric Delaney played there.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Eric Delaney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christmas was always a
And
good
so
dance.
you guys came off.
Yes. And
Then what happened after that?
then
There was a short
there's
intermission.
Intermission. The people put their amps up and things like that. I think they might possibly have already been there. Part of them.
Neil Aspinall brought
Yeah.
the gear on.
Yeah, they brought the gear on, and the drums are in the centre of the stage, just a bit further back. And then Ringo, he had to come out on stage, and he was really miffed about this because there was no curtains or anything like that. So to actually get his drums set up properly, like you always want to do.
Yeah, I always want to
always
set
your
your
adjustments, just how you like to do it.
Yeah.
He was in the middle of the stage doing that, and all the crowd's going bananas, and he was really miffed about that.
Yeah, yeah.
But, anyhow, that's what he had to do. Then he went back
That's
behind,
right, back behind. And
back
then-
behind. Then they all came on, and
Well, did a
pandemonium.
compere anchoring this show?
Hey, Barry, you'd introduce him.
Probably me.
Yeah.
There was nothing fancy in those days.
Nothing fancy. And what did you introduce them?
Probably, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Can't
Or
remember.
the Beatles or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
But you
and
I
then-
mean, John, what's he called? Paul McCartney he said, "We're on now," and he went running out, and his cable went looping up like that, and it caught on a coat hanger. They dragged him off his feet. Come back, whip it off,
Yeah,
and get on the
I
stage,
know,
and that was it.
I know,
It was just good fun. It was real laugh.
absolutely. And then when they're playing, okay,
Yeah.
where were you when they
Oh,
were
we
playing?
went round the front and
Yeah.
we watched them.
And-
I remember we went up into the balcony. The thing that struck me about it was not just the volume, but everything was so together, so it just hit you. It was so
Tight.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were
Really,
tight, yeah.
they were
Tight
so
band.
tight without being polished,
Yeah.
or it was just
They
a
just did
wonderful
it.
impact.
They just did
Yeah.
it. That was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful
They just
impact.
did it.
Yeah.
And
What-
the harmonies were good.
John had that big Gibson that they used to play.
Yeah.
McCartney had his left-handed Hofner.
Yeah.
Ringo was Premier drums.
Yeah.
And
Did he have
George.
the Ludwig kit then?
No,
No,
the
he had a
Premier.
Premier.
Premier. I wonder where that kit went to.
With the plasters
Don't know.
with the plasters covering the holes on top. On
yeah.
the snare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and George was
Jo-
playing a Gretsch Jet Firebird, which he borrowed from Barrett's of Manchester,
Oh, right.
because he regularly played the other, the Gibson, the big Gibson electric.
Yeah.
But that was in. For
So
the
he hadn't
service.
graduated to the Gretsch or the.
It was he borrowed a Gretsch Jet Firebird.
He had a
Is that-
Gretsch,
oh, it was a
yeah.
Gretsch Firebird.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
of course.
He had a
Yeah.
Gretsch. Yeah, I
Right,
saw it in
yeah.
the case.
So-
I think it was a brown one.
These are the kind of detail that I find absolutely fascinating. Because I saw the Beatles at Wigan ABC, and I was sat in the gods next door to, I think, the Archangel Gabriel, I think, where I was. It was that far high up in there. And I watched an audience watch of the Beatles, in effect.
Yeah.
But you guys, first hand, face to
Oh, yeah,
face.
yeah.
And even, like you say, it's inevitable you're going to chat and see each
Oh,
other.
yeah, yeah.
And that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, but at the time, you've got to remember, we were a band, and we don't been put down by another band in a way. So, you're a bit, you like them, but you don't want to say too much about it.
No,
But,
no.
secretly inside, you could have been up there doing
Yeah,
it.
and I've got a copy here of the actual poster, which I'm going to put
That's
up.
the ticket, actually.
Yeah, and I know. It's actually a ticket.
That's the
Sorry,
ticket
because
to
it's a
get an
big
entrance.
version. Yeah, it's on
That
a big
was sold.
A.
I think that was a copy of a ticket sold recently for £800.
Is that right?
Yeah, at an auction.
And I'm going to take a photocopy of this. I'm going to put it up on Lanky Beat. And, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
Lanky Beat is www.lankybeat.com and spell it with an Lanky beat. And a dance promoted by the local Baptist Church Youth Club. Baptist Youth Club presents The Greatest Teenage Dance, featuring the Beatles, supported by the Electones, yours truly
us.
here, Pete
Yeah.
and Barry, the Mike Taylor combo, the Mustangs with Ricky Day. What a night that was. 1, 2, 3, for 5 bands on the same night.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Unbelievable. And it's 7:30 to 11:30. There's a buffet, and it's tickets 6 shillings.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic value.
It's brilliant.
For money. When you think how much they took on the door, 6 shillings, which is how much? 30p?
30p
Yeah.
now. Yeah, 30p.
The Beatles charge 100 quid,
Ah, right.
and we got 6 quid each, the bands.
Yeah. Gives you some idea, doesn't it? What Brian Epstein was charging for them.
Yeah.
And when you think 100 quid, not a lot of money, really, even then.
They were just finishing their contracts off.
Yeah.
They'd obviously made bookings in advance of the success, and I think Epstein was keen to make sure they did all that they contracted to do. But that's how I heard it anyway.
That's how I read it too.
So they were finishing off the.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't need to do it. The way they were taking off, they could have kind of. Sorry, it's too small for us now. But they actually went round and finished the contracts for the local dances that they had. Oh, that was very good.
He got. It would have been dead easy to have just said, scrap all those contracts. We're bigger than that now, and we'll go for the megabuck because we can get it.
Yeah.
And he didn't. And that was the decency of a man called Brian Epstein, wasn't it? That said, right, you've got these contracts. They are for relatively now low money in terms of what we are and what this band is all about. But he stuck to it, and he is well documented as being an extremely honest man.
Yeah.
In fact, too honest for his own good in a world of dodgy this and dodgy that.
Absolutely.
Can I put it that way?
Very
As we've
ruthless
all
business.
since learned, haven't we?
Yeah,
We all know
absolutely,
that.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was fantastic.
he was a beacon of honesty in an otherwise, world of not so honest, being so honest, wasn't he? So I'm struggling with my words a bit, but there you go. Diane's coming in now. Come on, Diane, what we do?
There we are, that's better. There's an actual connection with Brian Epstein and Wigan, because he used to have an escape in Winston where he used to get away from things.
Right.
And he used to go there, because I know one of the girls I used to work with, they used to have a shop, and the mum used to say, Brian's friend's been in, which meant Brian Epstein's friend's been in to get the groceries, because he's down there escaping for a while.
Right.
And Winston is just over the back here.
Really?
Yes, about a
And
mile away.
we're here in Diane's front room studio, aren't we?
In Orrell.
In Orrell, near Wigan, just near the junction 25 of the M6. So
Junction 26.
Yeah, junction 26.
Yes.
Not 25, 26. Yes, you're right.
And over the fields,
Yeah.
Winston is around about a mile away, and that's where Brian Epstein used to escape.
Right. Brian Epstein escape.
He escaped though.
Yeah.
Just got away from everything, apparently. That's what I was told.
Have they got that in the Brian Epstein story? Because I watched part 1 of the Brian Epstein story last week, which of course is again another thing that I'd
Not
love
seen it.
to chat about, but not tonight.
It was excellent, that.
I know, it was excellent,
It was,
and I've only
yeah.
watched part 1. Thank goodness for iPlayer. Isn't iPlayer good?
Fabulous.
Isn't it fantastic?
Fabulous.
I mean, you don't miss anything now, do you? I mean, and you watch it when you want.
You
Fantastic.
pick and choose what you want
But
to see.
anyway, we'll play a little bit more music. Take us on. We are actually getting to the close to winding up. It just seems like we just started. I knew there'd be a second session in this before we started tonight. So I hope you're quite happy with being able to do that.
Yes,
With
I'm
this
sure.
this particular track is Mitch Mitchinson. He's writing about 24 hours. 7-365 Mitch. He never stops. He's not well at the moment and not been well for a while. He's had a big op, and I spoke to him last night. He sounded really bubbly, but it's the op in it. It's in his spine, and he's had that. So it's all the nerve endings are all kind of all over the place. But he's absolutely buzzing with excitement to try and get back to Lanky Cats as soon as he can. And so this is again to you, Mitch. This is a track that you gave me quite some time ago. Well, it blew me away because it's your version of telling the world what you think of country music.
Well, I turn on my radio each and every day, and I listen to the music that those DJs play. And I like everything from Bobby B to Level 42, but I hate country music, Pete, I do. Well, it must be pretty simple, 'cause those tunes all sound the same. Just rearrange those lyrics, boy, and churn it out again. You could add some finger picking and a steel guitar or two, but I hate country music, Pete, I do. Oh yes, I hate country music, Pete, I do. Yippee-yi-yay, it just bores me through and through. Woo-hoo! Country music tops my list after things that I detest. Oh, I hate country music, Pete, I do. I get some kind of funny dreams when I go to bed, like I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, boy, with cows tied to my head. And all I hear are trains and trucks, so what am I to do? I hate country music, Pete, I do. Oh yes, I hate country music, Pete, I do. Yippee-yi-yay, it just bores me through and through. Country music tops my list of the things that I detest. Oh, I hate country music, Pete, I do. Oh, I just hate country music, Pete, I do. Yippee-yi-yay, it just bores me through and through. Country music tops my list of the things that I detest. Oh, I hate country music, Pete, I do. I just hate country music, Pete, I do. I just hate country music, Pete, I do.
So that tells you what Mitch, the country music fan, what he really likes about country music, and that's not very much by the sound of it. I loved it, that, when I heard it, and I thought you like it too. We've got one or two little things to tell you about. That Lanky Cats is on tomorrow night, and we are doing 3 bands. One is the Blue Notes, and the other is Just Us, and the Top Spots will be doing their bit as well. We've got on there, don't forget, 8 o'clock till about 11, and it's £1 on the door for everybody, and we're having a truly good rock and roll night. And of course, the money is always collected, and we put it to good causes for charities and worthy causes. That's what we'll be doing tomorrow night. We've got a musicians exchange now. And if you look on the website and on either Lanky Cats, and that's Lanky Cats, www.lankycats, spelt with LANKYKATS.com, Lanky Cats. People like Shadows Tribute Bands from St Helens are looking for a Cliff Richard sound-alike, a rhythm guitar and a drummer. And they want to form a band on a casual basis. So it gives you some idea of what people are looking for, and one or two other things like Dave, a mature drummer, he seeks a band for 60s music. He's based in Preston, and he wants again to form a band or get with a band on a casual basis. So have a look out for that, Musicians Exchange. We've got also to tell you all about March the 1st, Friday, March the 1st, Vince Reno and the Sabres. And they are a current Lanky Cat band, and they'll be doing their bit at Lee Miners on the 1st of March for you if you want to get in there. It's 8 o'clock, and tickets are £3, pay on the door. We've also got The British Invasion by the Marmosets. They're a band from down Liverpool way. I think they're mainly based in Formby, which is still in Lancashire, don't forget. And they're doing a gig in Burscough at the Bridge Inn at 8 o'clock on Saturday the 16th of March. So that's well in advance for you to get in touch with them and get on with, booking a coach or something and get over to the Bridge Inn at Burscough. The Marmosets have a special guest from France, the Francois Berry Band. So that sounds a very, very interesting night with a French band on the bill alongside the Marmosets. And incidentally, just to let you know, the Marmosets are booked in at Lanky Cat soon on April the 4th, and their lead singer is one and only the son of King Size Taylor. Mark Taylor is King Size Taylor's son, and he is a chip off the old block. I can tell you that is a good night that we'll be looking forward to there. A gala charity show, the Alzheimer's Society at Lower Kersal Social Club, Stamford Road in Salford on Friday the 29th of March. Tickets £3 and the door is 7:30, and we've got top soul duos, tributes to Neil Diamond, we've got pop vocalists, hits from the 60s and 70s, and special guest appearance by Fred Fielder, MBE. He's a well-known name in the area for doing a lot of community and charity work, and he's got an MBE out of it for all the stuff that he's done, and of course he's often on local radio. Back then to Barry and Pete, and we've got now just to wind up a little bit to say that we've got to think of now in terms of bringing you back and to talk about the bands from those days that you appeared early with the Beatles at the Co-op Hall, and then move on and into your other manifestations and your professional lives as well, because you'd turned professional, didn't you?
Yes, we did.
You
Yes,
certainly did.
Yeah.
And for a lot of aspiring musicians, to turn professional is the ultimate, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And it's either by luck but you still need the bloody talent, don't you? You still need an awful lot of talent to be able to do it. And that's something I'm looking forward to finding out about you. So very briefly, just a little potted history. You've got then the Electones into the summers, into the weather, and then supporting Marty Wilde. Just tell us briefly about that, just to whet our appetite for next time.
Well, when we used to do the Wigan Casino, Bolton Casino quite regularly, and the way we got into playing with Marty Wilde was that he played on the same night.
Yeah.
And he came down after we played, and he just came straight out and said, "Will you back me on my tours?"
Yeah.
So we had to think about it. 2 minutes, I think, something like that. And we said, well, yeah, okay then. I think we took a bit longer than that to talk about it, because most of us were working anyhow.
Well, if I remember rightly, me and you went down to London, Barry, to
Yeah.
sort out a couple of offers.
Yeah.
I know.
To back.
Yes, there was somebody else, wasn't there?
Somebody else wanted us,
Yeah,
and
they did.
so we had a weekend in London. We went to see Marty, and we sort of listened to his offer, and then the other guy, it was another singer, Barry Noble, and he wanted us to back him, and so we sussed out the both offers, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I know. It sounds great. It sounds
But we ended up
fantastic.
with Marty.
with old Marty.
I know.
Great
so-
bloke.
I know, and you've
Nice
got
to see
all
him
the
still going
stuff
strong.
in between. What happened after Marty? What year was this becoming?
We went with Marty in '67, and I think it all finished at the end of '71.
Yeah, yeah. And what were you doing?
I finished in '69.
Yeah, and what were
We
you
had about
looking
5
then
years.
for proper jobs? Then did you come out looking for proper jobs, or did you stay in the business?
No, I came out for I started working for Whitbread.
And you, Pete?
I came out and went travelling, and then I worked for my dad, and then I went travelling again, and then I got engaged and got married, and then
And
I didn't work in a band for a year, and then I went in a folk band
right.
called Nevis, and we had pretty much a lot of success with our folk band.
Right.
We were on Granada Reports a few times, and one
Yeah.
or two things.
So again, tripping the highlights of the business, you're tripping the light fantastic in that particular sense that you're up there again.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
But not actually making and breaking through in, say, for instance, what you would call with a number one hit record and the big time that came with it for a short time around it.
Personally, I only had one real ambition, and that was to have a single released,
Yeah,
right, on a major label.
yeah,
And I thought, if we got that, if that gives us a chance, we may, if we get the right song, get the right publicity and the look, we might just get a hit.
Yeah.
Well, we had 2 singles released, and neither of them were hits. One of them, the first one, should have been, but it never got the push.
Yeah.
And I think it sold a few in Holland, didn't it, or Belgium, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still think it's wonderful. So.
You know, you set your sights at, achieving that, and you've achieved it. You know?
Did it, yeah.
And anything, I suppose, that you could say to yourself that come after that was a bonus, wasn't it?
That's right.
But if you set your sights very high, saying, I want a number 1 hit record, and you don't achieve it, you'll feel a sense of failure then.
No, I felt we'd done well.
Yeah. And I think we can all say, no matter what level we reached, we did what we did, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. That's the main thing we got out of it, isn't it? And we got some tremendous memories and
Fabulous memories.
Fabulous memories.
Played with loads of
and
people,
thanks for
didn't we?
sharing those with you. I just want to briefly talk about what you're actually doing in the here and now, because you've played a couple of times down at Lanky Cats. You played at the Cavern last year, so you're now involved with Lanky Cats in a way, and you're looking forward to coming back and doing another
it's really
session.
Good. Really good fun.
This band's called what?
Original rock and roll band.
I know, that's an original name for a rock and roll band, isn't it? Where did that one come from, Barry?
I just think it's because we just like playing the old original rock and roll songs here. So that's how it actually came around.
Absolutely fantastic.
We're actually in this area on Saturday.
You are. We're actually going to your club right after this. But we're on some business.
Yeah.
A little bit of business for you. I'll just let you into it, the secret of it. Lanky Cats is moving on from the Unity Club, and we're actually looking round now for a new venue, and it'll be the Lamberhead Green Working Men's Club that we're going down to now. We're all going to the Standish Labour Club, we're going to the Swinley Club in Wigan, and we might even get over to Garswood and have a look at their Labour Club. Yeah. So we're any club it could be, we're not sure yet, but that's where Diane and I are going right now and going to have a look at see how suitable they might be. So next time we see you might be actually in the studio in Chorley. We might be again. We've been offered the facility of the studio in Chorley, Chorley Hospital, because Diane has updated me tonight to say that Wrightington Hospital Radio, the studio, is well underway. If it's not physically underway, it's certainly mentally underway, isn't it? The planning is well in an advanced stage.
Well, it's very much advanced now. We're having meetings now on the design, costings, and it should start in the next couple of weeks, the actual building.
Fantastic news. So
that's good.
Well, and thank you very much for allowing us to have use your living room for a temporary studio for all these sessions that we've
Not
had.
a problem. It's been a bit of a struggle
I
setting
know.
up
You
everything. Wires.
if my wife saw Diane's living room, she'd go absolutely ballistic.
This is my idea.
I know.
What a living room should be.
This is my office.
Completely taken over her living room. You can
brilliant.
hardly recognise it.
This is like nothing. The more stuff gets in here when we're putting like things together. We need to get amp racks in here, sort various amps out, crossovers, and get them right when we're doing the stuff with Russ Winston, the Northern Soul Nights, Ross Band Nights, or whatever.
Fantastic.
And it just gets really hard work at times, but it's enjoyable.
I know. You can tell we're having fun. You can see smiles on our faces, can't you?
Anybody who comes in and can't tell I'm involved with music must be, I don't know.
Anyway, that's great stuff. And thank you and Carol as well,
no
because
problem,
it's her home as well. So thank you very much for the last few weeks, and we'll hopefully go in the studio, and it won't be the same, It won't,
It won't, but we'll have a lot more facilities. We've got the proper microphones. We've got 2 record players. We've got cassette deck. We've got mini disc. We've got computer. We've got CD. We can record and straight onto CD.
Fantastic.
As well as onto computer.
That's great. Well, that's kind of winding things up for us. Thank you so much, Barry.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Peter.
Thank you.
We're definitely coming back because we've only just scratched the surface with these 2 guys, and all that I want to say to you is thank you very much for listening. We're going to play you out with the 6th generation, There's some breaking news on the Sixth Generation. They're from Michigan in America. And if you're reading a couple of lines in front of me, I don't even have to say it. But there's some exciting news coming across the Atlantic regarding those bands and this summer in Lancashire. Thank you very much again. Lanky Beat Show number 11 is almost over. And we'll leave you with the Sixth Generation, and very appropriately, and I'm not quite sure how, but the song title is called Runaway.
As I walk along, I wonder what went wrong with our love, the love that was so strong. And as I still walk on, I think of the things we've done together while our hearts were young. I'm a walking in the rain, tears are falling, I feel the pain, wishing you were here by me to end this misery. And I wonder, why she ran away, and I wonder where she